Hi. I'd like to enjoy a little intellectual teaser together, taken from the website of the organization ED Change. I'm going to show and read a quote to you, and you will get to guess from a multiple choice list who you think said it. Ready? I am a socialist because I believe that socialism will solve the misery of the world. Give work to the man who is hungry and idle, and at least give to little children the right to be born free. Was this said by Helen Keller, author and lecturer, Angela Davis, activist, organizer, and university professor, Che Guevara, Marxist revolutionary, or Leon Trotsky, Bolshevik revolutionary and Marxist theorist? It was Helen Keller. Were you surprised? And if so, what could that surprise perhaps teach you? My own political leanings aside, the purpose of this exercise is to look within ourselves and begin to inquire about and reflect on our identities, assumptions, and judgments. This is an essential part of embracing diversity, equity, and inclusion, which moving forward, I'll shorten to DEI. Let's dive in, shall we? This research examines the role of DEI in cancer support groups from the perspectives of social workers who facilitate them. I'm interested in this question because previous research has found that despite the known benefits of these groups for many attendees, as few as 8% of people diagnosed with cancer choose to attend a support group. To put that into perspective, this would mean that the 1.6 million of 1.8 million people in America anticipated to be newly diagnosed with cancer in 2020 will not attend a support group. I approached this inquiry by conducting an anonymous online survey distributed via email among 3 oncology social work organizations. Here it is for your review on the screen. The survey included 2 questions about the demographics of participants and 5 open-ended questions about the participants' understanding and practice of DEI in their support groups. I analyzed the responses to these questions to take the temperature, so to speak, of DEI within this very specific context. And now for the really exciting stuff, my friends, the data. A total of 26 social workers from all over the country took this survey, and we'll start with their demographic results. I'll put up the results of the 2 demographic questions on race and gender and let you take a look for yourself at the results. Altogether, it's clear at a glance that these wee baby sample of social workers is predominantly white women, 88% to be precise. And this isn't exactly groundbreaking information. I had a sense that even in the study of diversity, this might be the case, which to me points towards the vital importance of DEI in this setting. There were 2 Black women in this sample, 1 white man, 1 woman who declined to report their race, and another woman who self-identified as Celtic. To summarize who was not present in this sample, there were no non-binary participants or other people with gender identities beyond the binary, nor anyone of American Indian or Alaskan Native, Asian, Hispanic Latinx, or Pacific Islander descent. Store that information away for later. I then asked those 5 open-ended questions about DEI. These questions were meant to elicit information about how social workers who facilitate cancer support groups and their agencies understand and practice DEI. 4 major themes emerged from this first question on the importance of DEI, and they are, in order of popularity, confronting bias, fostering a non-judgmental space in which to hold groups, cultural awareness and humility, and unpacking privilege. These themes paint an encouraging picture of the intentions of the social workers in this sample, and while distinct in my opinion, are not mutually exclusive. One participant said it well. Safety and respect enables diverse participants to feel comfortable engaging with each other and with the agency. Cultural awareness and humility are integral to creating these spaces. Analyzing responses to this second question about the role of DEI in facilitating support groups posed some challenges for me. I chose a research project for my capstone because I wished to grow my limited experience in this pocket of academia, and goodness if I did not grow as I attempted to analyze the data my survey tool produced. The second question was meant to elicit ways social workers can individually promote DEI, and I did find examples of these micro-level interventions, but I also found loads of meso-level interventions. For organization's sake, we'll discuss those meso-level interventions along with question 4, which was meant for that specifically. I learned a lot. Anyway, there were 3 major themes identified here, and they were reducing and removing barriers to attendance, which often look like indiscriminately inviting everyone with a qualifying diagnosis to participate, but for some, also included representing identities seen less often in this setting, which participants said they think helps marginalized attendees feel more comfortable. Facilitation skills, such as encouraging marginalized group members to speak and privileged group members to listen, was also important, as was advocating for institutional policy. While individuals may not have the power to do something like add another support group conducted in Spanish, for example, individuals do have the power and influence of their voice. I next asked participants to describe any patterns they notice in the demographic of their group members. Time prohibited me from directly studying group attendees themselves, and it prohibits me now from delving deeply into the data of this question. Let the record show that my survey participants said much about the diversity of people who attend support groups. But in the interest of time, I would like to highlight a particular finding for you. Consistent with previous research, my survey participants described their attendees as predominantly white women. The bars on this graph ahead of you represent the percent of participants who reported that their groups were predominantly white and women, respectively, within the subsample of participants who actually mentioned race and gender. So, of 26 total participants, 10 mentioned gender when describing their typical support group, and 9 of them, or 90%, indicated that their groups were predominantly women. What is evident to me here are the parallels between who is facilitating and attending support groups. As best as I can figure, both my survey sample and their clients are predominantly white women. To me, this indicates that there is a great opportunity and, dare I say, need for growth in this context. As some participants said in their responses to question 2, facilitators who represent marginalized identities within their agencies and groups, whether that be along the axes of race or gender, ability, sexuality, nation of origin, native language, religion, and more, could do much to benefit the numerous and diverse people affected by cancer. Participants also offered a wealth of meso-level interventions that agencies are implementing, including keeping groups free of charge and open to all with relevant diagnoses, providing a variety of group types and formats suitable to a variety of populations, ancillary services such as bringing in diverse guest speakers, providing interpretive services and diversity trainings to facilitators, as well as marketing and outreach. What was startling about responses to this question is that only one facilitator reported that they have seen increased participation as a result of these efforts. This suggests a critical need for innovative techniques to promote DEI in cancer support groups, which is a beautiful transition to our last survey question. What ideas do survey participants have for promoting DEI, and what would be required to implement them? Many social workers suggested expanding group offerings to make them more accessible. Others recommended increasing marketing and outreach with emphasis on partnering with local community leaders. Hiring more skilled social workers with diverse backgrounds was another popular response. The most common thread regarding needed resources was time and money. For example, in order to meet with a religious leader to share information with them about a support group and to encourage their qualifying congregation members to attend, a social worker needs designated time for this task and should be compensated fairly for their labor. From my perspective as a student, I think it also behooves the discipline of oncology social work to invest in diverse students by funding scholarships. And as one participant suggested, Agencies also ought to survey people affected by cancer to learn about other means of social support beyond formal support groups that may be of benefit. These ideas require both literal and figurative buy-in from agency leadership to make support groups for people with cancer more diverse, equitable, and inclusive. In my experience serving people affected by cancer, one of the many profound struggles they experience is a sense of social isolation and accompanying depression and anxiety. Research has found that cancer support groups can promote feelings of connection and intimacy, and so it's important to me that this resource is accessible to all who wish to utilize it, regardless of color or creed or anything else. Furthermore, I believe diversity, equity, and inclusion in oncology social work at its best also looks like leaning into other kinds of culturally appropriate social support when a formal cancer support group is not the right answer for a particular person or group's needs. Everyone deserves support that works best for them, and that's why DEI takes creativity, collaboration, and continuous commitment. Thank you for listening, stay curious, and be well.